What's up everyone, we have finally seen the premiere of the 32nd season of The Amazing Race and it did not disappoint. From the USA to Trinidad and Tobago, we saw carnivals, we saw steel drums, we even saw goat racing as the 11 teams battled it out for a place to stay in the race. But one team did not fare so well, so without further ado guys, let's jump right in. So welcome to your Amazing Race recap. Right before we get started guys, please hit the subscribe button if you are new around here. Also click the like button and the bell icon to get notified every single time a new upload goes live. Straight away I'm going to throw it to you guys. Let me know in the comment section who is your favourite team after the first leg. The team started out in the Hollywood Bowl and it was very exciting to see the Amazing Race back. I was extremely hyped, and as soon as they started talking about where they're going to be heading, the hype just got more and more. But Phil told them that the first location they were heading to was obviously LA International Airport and they will be heading to Trinidad as the first location. Once they arrived in Trinidad, they were told to get a taxi to the 24-hour fruit stand in which they would receive their first clue. And once they'd received that first clue, they would be told basically to roll a massive oil drum down the street to a massive carnival. And you know, as they got further down the street, the carnival music started blaring, things started getting louder. It was party central basically. Lots and lots of fun times in Trinidad, and it really set the race off to some fun times with a bit of carnival music. And once they were there, they had to find someone called the Midnight Robber, and this person would be dressed up with the next clue that they would have that would give them an advantage, and the first 7 people to get to this Midnight Robber would have an advantage in the next part of the leg. We will quickly talk about the placements in which people got to the fruit stand, because obviously when you get to the fruit stand, that is essentially the first clue to get to the next location. So here are the order in which people arrived at the fruit stand. First we had Riley and Madison, followed by Hung and Chi, then we had Gary and D'Angelo, then Jerry and Frank came in 4th, then 5th we had Nathan and Cody, 6th had Michelle and Victoria, 7th was Kaylin and Haley, 8th was Kelly and Lavon, 9th Leo and Alana, 10th Will and James, and 11th Iswa and Aparna. Now remember, obviously the fruit stand, it doesn't matter if you're in the first 7 there, it's about getting the oil drum to the carnival to actually get the advantage first. But Iswa and Aparna were coming in last place and they were giving it all this sort of, you know, slow and steady wins the race sort of cliche sort of stuff, saying, you know it's good that we're not at the front because everyone will get tangled up and it'll sort of ruin their game essentially. And you know, they were sort of quite humble about being in 11th place, but things did actually change up soon as we head down to the carnival. Okay guys, so we're at the carnival, the music's blaring, and let's talk about the placements of who got on the first flight. This was the first 7 to arrive there, so cue carnival music. First to arrive was Gary and D'Angelo, then second was Jerry and Frank, followed by Riley and Madison. In 4th we had Hung and Chi, 5th Nathan and Cody, 6th Michelle and Victoria, 7th Will and James, so that was the first flight and that was their advantage on getting a plane to Tobago first. And then on the second flight, close behind, we had 8th. In 8th place, we had Kelly and Lavon. 9th place, Kaylin and Haley. 10th place, Leo and Alana. And then 11th, Iswa and Aparna. So the placements pretty much stayed the same. They wavered ever so slightly, but the difference was that between this first flight and second flight, there was a 30-minute difference in flight. So not too much, but obviously, it's a huge advantage in the Amazing Race. With only 30 minutes apart, the first flight headed out and headed to a place called Swallows Beach, where they would find a boat captain who would give them the next clue. And they were all obviously neck and neck coming off the same flight, and they were told to head to this pool that was in the ocean, where there will be 125 painted fish, like acrylic fish, in the ocean, and they would have to find the one fish that matches up with the fish in their boat. Yes, there's lots of fish talk going on right now, but yes, basically they would have like colours that would correspond on the fish. It could be red, yellow, green, yellow, whatever, and they would have to find the same colour on the fish that's in their boat as the one that's in the ocean. So that's a lot to search through, 125 fish with only one that matches, and the one that they have in the boat has a 4-digit code, and if they find the fish in the ocean that corresponds with the same colours, they would put the code into the padlock and they would move on to the next round. Due to this being such a strenuous and difficult task to find one fish in 125 whilst you're in the middle of the ocean as well, or the edge of the ocean, sorry, you know, you're moving around, it's slower in water, so it's harder to do so, but we'll get to the placements of how fast people found their fish. So first we had Michelle and Victoria, then second Riley and Madison, followed by third with Jerry and Frank, and by this point they'd been searching for so long, even the second plane had caught up, so it was literally anyone's game now. Everyone was in the water together looking for their fish. And in 4th place we had Will and James, 5th Hung and Chi, 6th Nathan and Cody, 7th Gary and D'Angelo, 8th Kaylin and Haley, 9th Iswa and Aparna, who've actually made some distance because they were obviously in last place, now they've made it to 9th place. Then in 10th we had Leo and Alana, and in 11th place, Kelly and Lavon. Once the teams had found their fish, they would head on a speedboat over to a place called Pigeon Point, where they would have to learn to play a classic Calypso song on a steel pan as part of their roadblock. I mean, it really did remind me of... Wow, it's taking me back to Beetlejuice, this, guys. Wow, I mean, I am not... If you guys get the reference, let me know in the comment section below. It's off Beetlejuice, of course, guys, but they had to learn that song, a classic Deo by Harry Belafonte, on a steel pan to make it to the next part of the leg. One by one, as the teams arrived, they would be coached by someone from a calypso band who would take them over and take them over the points. So, for instance, they would have to go like 3-5, 3-5, 3-5-8 on the steel pan, essentially, and each sort of number would correspond a note as part of the song, and then they would join the calypso band, and the band master would sort of stand there, and they would have to play along with the song, and if they did it in time, and if they played the correct notes, then they would be given to the clue, which is obviously pivotal because we are approaching the very end of the first leg now, so they had to get that done as quickly as possible. And let me tell you guys, some people spent ages. I'm pretty sure some people did about 15 attempts or something to actually make it through. Some people would do, like, you know, they went there and they were like, you know, they grooved and they did it in like the first time, but some people were there and it was really intense. It was getting scary, you know, for some of the teams. So we'll go through the placements of what happened here. So cue the calypso music. So in first place we had Hung and Chi, then second Michelle and Victoria, followed by Riley and Madison in third place. In fourth we had Will and James, then fifth we had Jerry and Frank. In sixth was Leo and Alana, seventh was Iswa and Apana, and eighth was Kaylin and Haley. Now at this point, this is where it started to get really difficult and strenuous for some of the teams, because we had two Olympic teams essentially. We had the NFL players and we also had the Olympians with Kelly and Levon and Gary and D'Angelo, and then we had Nathan and Cody also there as well, but we will go through the last few placements in a second. But they spent a long time trying to get it correct, and they finally managed with Gary and D'Angelo coming in 9th, Kelly and Levon coming in 10th, and 11th was Nathan and Cody as they head towards the final clue. For the last section of the leg, they travelled away from the calypso drums that many of them had spent a long time on, to basically go do something called goat racing, where they would be essentially let out like a dog racing track or a horse racing track, where the gates would fly open, the goat would go flying, and they would have to keep hold of the rope to cross the finish line at the end, where Phil was stood there. So we'll get right into actually who placed and who was eliminated from the Amazing Race in the first episode. In first place, sliding onto the mat with the goat, it was Hung and Chi, so congratulations to them, and they were given the clue that the race does not stop here. They will continue on to fly to Colombia as the next location, so that we obviously didn't see any of that, but that will continue into next week's episode. But chronologically, they just went straight on to fly to Colombia. Then in second place, we had Michelle and Victoria. Third was Riley and Madison. Fourth was Will and James, making good ground from being at the very bottom at the beginning of the race to actually making it to the top 4, which is very impressive. Then we had Jerry and Frank, who were very consistent the whole way through. A massive congratulations to Leo and Alana in 6th place, who were also at the bottom at the beginning and made it to nearly the top half, or about halfway. Then 7th, same again goes for Iswa and Apana, almost at the bottom, or very much at the bottom at the beginning of the race, and then in 7th place to finish. Then in 8th we had Kaylin and Haley, and then in 9th was Kelly and Levon, and 10th was Gary and D'Angelo. So that means the first team eliminated from the Amazing Race Season 32 is Nathan and Cody. Commiserations to best friends Nathan and Cody. Thank you guys for taking part in the race. You entertained us for one episode. It was a real shame how you got eliminated, because let's be honest, those guys were like really you know, towards the front for the good chunk of the race, and then they just messed up when it came to Deo on the steel pans. But commiserations again, guys. But you know what? Those two seem like they've got a great friendship going on, and they didn't hold any grudges or anything like that. You know, they were sort of saying it was just nice to have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity with your best friend. So guys, I salute you. Thank you so much for taking part in the race. I know you're very not likely watching this, but let's give a hand for Nathan and Cody, our first elimination of the Amazing Race Season 32. That is all of your Amazing Race recap for today, folks. Thank you so much everyone for watching. I really thoroughly hope everyone enjoyed it, and also let me know in the comments your predictions for next week. Who's your favourite team? Are you sad to see Nathan and Cody go? Just anything to do with the Amazing Race, guys, drop it in the comment section below and have a good old conversation with a fellow Amazing Race fan, and I might just join in as well, guys. But what a fantastic premiere. Let's give a hand to CBS and Phil and all the team for bringing us a fantastic show. I can't wait for the rest of the season. I think it's going to be so much fun covering it, and I can't wait, guys. I think we've got many fun weeks ahead of us. But again, guys, thank you so much everyone for watching. I hope everybody has a fantastic week, and hope everyone's looking forward to next week's episode as we head to Colombia. But apart from that, guys, don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe. But until your next Amazing Race recap, I've been your host Tom Vasey. Good night.